Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The county commission is not able to act on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their name for the record. Is there anyone that would like to comment? All right. We'll move on from that part. I guess I'll make a public comment. So whose cows are, there?
Zeno,
Yeah.
they're all Zeno.
I'll use less than 3 minutes to say I tried to chase them off this morning, but
They're,
I would consider it like a DEI herd. It was very diverse. Anyway,
Keeps the road crew from having to do landscaping.
right.
it's only for one payroll.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to our presentation portion of the meeting. We just, we'd like to remind our presenters, we are doing a 10-minute presentation limitation, and then we'll have some opportunity for questions after the presentation. So, up first, Mrs. Nelson. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, before we get started, I want to say thank you for taking a stand against the wolf. Not everybody's really pleased to have that here in the county. If I forget to breathe, the most important part is on that last part of this presentation. If I can hand this out to y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Charlotte Nelson, and I'm from Alma and Glenwood, and I'm a rancher's wife. And the first thing I've broken this up into 3 parts, and the first part that I want to talk about is how ranchers are recognized when you go to your WOOF meetings. And let me give you an example of why this is important. In 1976, there was a court case. It was called U.S. versus 40,000 acres. And in it, the judge decided that those who were on state land and had water rights, they would be compensated for their ranch that was taken for the White Sands missile crisis, or missile base. Yeah. So those with state land and water rights got compensated. Those with state land, ranches on state land, it was debatable, maybe yes or no. Those who said they had ranches under the Taylor Grazing Act, they got absolutely nothing. So I want you to think about this. All ranches in New Mexico were based on ownership of springs. So if we're talking about on mineral lands, which are now administered by U.S. Forest Service, we're talking about public lands, which is now administered by BLM. We're talking about state lands administered by state. We're talking about land grants administered by Mexico and Spain. Every ranch was created by whoever got to the springs first. So imagine you have a spring, no one else can use that spring, so then you dig a well, your ranch got a little bigger. You dig a tank, your ranch got a little bigger. That's what ranches are created from, how ranches were created. So even though those people, they claim they had ranches under the Taylor Grazing Act, they didn't recognize their water rights, so they got nothing. So it matters if you recognize us as ranchers. Here, let me give you an example. So when Joe and I bought our ranch, 2001, we came to the realtor's office. We gave the lady who was selling the ranch, we gave her a big old check. We drove away with the warranty deed. That warranty deed transferred the preference. A preference goes on forever and ever and ever. It's infinite. That warranty deed transferred the water rights. We didn't know all this. This has taken a lot of research. The warranty deed transferred the water rights out on the range. We drove away with our livestock, a bill of sale of livestock and the brand that they were branded in. So we became ranchers. At that point, we became ranchers. Who was to protect us? The sheriff. If somebody came in and put cattle on my waters, the sheriff could write them a ticket. It could go to magistrate court. It's $100 a day fine. Putting somebody else's cattle on your waters on purpose is $100 a day fine. Protecting the rancher under state law. So then we got in our car. We drove back to Glenwood. We signed the ranger, the forest permit. We paid a fee. We sent a check to the U.S. Treasury Department. That fee, I want to be sure I read it right. That fee, it's under code, is to prevent economic disruption and harm to the Western livestock industry. So as a rancher, I'm protected under state law, my waters, my cows. I call the sheriff, I call the state. My grass, I'm not exactly sure exactly where the line is drawn, but the permit protects the livestock industry, not me. So when you go to these meetings, can I ask that you represent us as ranchers and not as permittees? Sometimes a permittee is right, and I'll get to that. But my individual rights come from state law. So let me see where I'm at here. I think I've covered my warranty deeds. Okay, there were 3 court cases on page 2. There were 3 court cases that even though the grazing permits were canceled, the 3 different judges said that those ranchers still owned those vested water rights. Now, they didn't know this back in 1975 at that other court case, but it has been established since. There was Walker versus U.S., there was U.S. versus Canyon Del Buey, there was Diamond Bar Cattle Company. And in the Diamond Bar Cattle Company, all these cases, unfortunately, the rancher lost, but they still said you had the vested water rights. But in this court case, I'll read what the judge wrote. You can find it under Diamond Bar Cattle Company versus the U.S. And he says, at best, plaintiffs, which is the Diamond Bar, which is Kit and Sherry Laney, they possess a valid water right that is protected by the Mining Act of 1866. Now, that's the act that recognized the Spanish and Mexico customs of owning the springs. However, the United States has not acted to take plaintiffs' water rights. He has not denied access to the water and has not sought to divert plaintiffs' use to a governmental purpose. In fact, the United States concedes if plaintiffs do have a valid water right, the government may not usurp that right. Okay, listen to this. Craig Thiessen, Lance Thiessen is his brother. They're the Canyon Del Buey. They were the ones who also lost their permit because they Craig set a legal trap and caught a wolf and then did a bunch of stuff afterwards. It says, here's a letter to Thiessen, his brother, July 2nd, 2019, before a court case of 2021. This is sent from Calvin Joyner, the regional forester, and he says, am required to manage the national forest. Because of time, I'm going to skip to the bold. It says, this allotment will continue in use and will be made available to another permittee. That's where my point comes in. Recognize us as ranchers. The permittee, the federal government did not recognize our state water rights. I could write another paper on that. But I'm going to go on. Just as my point, recognize us as ranchers who have our rights established through the springs, through state law. And I'm going to go to the New Mexico Stockman. There's an article in here on page 22 of this month of April, and it talks about the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. And that's a really big deal because the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, because of time, I'm just going to skip to my whole point. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act is what the Endangered Species Act is based on. So the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918 was to protect the farmers, protect the birds that ate the insects that ate the farmer's crop. So the Migratory Bird Treaty Act was initially made to protect the farmers. That's what Endangered Species Act. I'm going to run out of time. You can look at my other notes about the Russia and Japan treaties as well. But the whole purpose is that my thinking is that when a wolf ate our cow, that the wolf didn't violate the law because it's protected under the wolf program, the Arizona, New Mexico wolf program, so it didn't violate the law. What violated the law was the Arizona, New Mexico wolf program that says we can't take a wolf. Because if you go back and read these words, it says that you cannot take a wolf, you cannot take a protected species unless, I'm going to ask for 2 minutes. Okay, you cannot take a species if it's protected unless it's hurting the agriculture community. I think that's a very big point that we need to bring up to the Secretary of Ag that you guys will. The third, this is the most important. It's only like
Say that one more time, what you just said. Okay, talk about taking a walk.
let me finish and then at
Okay.
the end I'll take questions. Okay, I'll get flustered.
Okay, don't get flustered.
The third is the most important, and that is what qualifies as undue economic hardship. In the Endangered Species Act itself, and I have the status 8, statute 87, statute 895, and it's under code 16 USC 1539. I have it in the notes. It specifically says that the secretary may make further requirement for a showing of undue economic hardships, and then as I had to put an S in there, as she deems fit. So what I'm asking is what qualifies as undue economic hardships? That needs to be answered. Because is it my one cow? Is it 2 cows? Is it my kid being surrounded by wolves and now my grandkids can't go up in Luna on their ranch up there? What qualifies as undue economic hardships?
And in what legal document does it quote undue economic hardships?
The Endangered Species Act of
Endangered Species Act, okay.
1978. Because it got revised too after that, but that part's still in there, I think. So you guys know Sewell Goodman. He was a lion hunter, and he had a home out on the Blue, and down in the Blue, and he got pressured just like the Lakers did at the Diamond Bar. They got pressured by a group of people, just like they got pressured by a group of people to reduce the numbers from of sustainable, where you can support your ranch, to lower numbers where you have to get kicked out. So Sewell Goodwin, he said, once you start fighting the federal government, you lose. And Sewell Goodwin, because of pressures from a group of people, had to sell his beautiful house down on the Blue. He was then able to buy the old McKean Ranch at the northern end of Alma. And that was by a group of people pressuring us, and we're not knowing these laws. And so we know we have some now, and maybe we can make a difference. Oh. Questions?
I see a note here, Carolyn, a grazing permit may be suspended or canceled if in whole or in part, if they're convicted, of failure to comply with federal laws or regulations. Is that the exact wording?
That's the exact wording. And Craig Thiessen went to court. And all of them, the ladies, Thiessen, I can't remember if the Walkers say it also. It says, you are not, because the Forest Service, I noticed in the Thiessen, because I read that one a lot. It says, the Forest Service asked for them to permanently not be back on the land. And the court okayed it without a permit. So everyone who got their permit canceled, you can go apply for a permit again.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, once you've been stabbed in the back by the U.S. government, you really don't want to go do
Could you email me the page that this specific language is on in your permit?
What page is that? Are you finding that?
She has the.
Yeah, I think I did
The
everything.
reference there, the Forest Service Manual,
Uh-huh.
2231.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
62.
Okay.
Yeah, I read for
Yeah.
everything I say
Alright.
can be referenced or proven.
And this is basically what they used as their justification in what they were able to do.
Yeah, with Craig Thiessen?
Yes.
Yes. And you know what his other document was? They said he was trying to trick them when he went in to put it as an LLC, and he put his brother as the owner and him as a manager. They said that was trying to trick the United States. It's on their piece of paper. So there was a letter sent to the Forest Service office, and I've seen it once, and then I can find articles about it. 30 groups of people wrote to the Forest Service saying, get rid of Craig Thiessen, make him an example to the ranchers. That's their wording in their letter. And what have we done to support Craig Thiessen? Everybody has turned their back on Craig Thiessen. I'm going to stop now.
All right. Well, we thank you for your time and for the effort that you put in researching things and stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
And we just want you to know that I don't want to talk too much out of turn, but we can let you know that Craig's thing, like we brought it up with the chief of the Forest Service.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we were able to meet with them back there and we realized that we're only able to do so much and we'll see what becomes of it. But no, we think that things were done wrongly and unjustly. And so we want you to know that we have not forgot the issue or.
Yeah, it's based on the sheriff. The sheriff is willing to write a ticket, which he said he is not, and he said the DA won't prosecute it. So I have to ask, what other laws do I not have to follow? And elections matter.
Well, the appointed chief of the forest definitely took interest in this, so we'll follow up.
Oh, he'll like to hear that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. All right, Mrs. Hartley.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Thank you for allowing me to present today. So my name is Shauna Hartley, and I represent the Opioid Remediation Collaborative. We are Catherine County is a part of a 7-county collaboration with Valencia, Socorro, Cibola, Hidalgo, Sierra, and Guadalupe. So, sorry. You guys having a PowerPoint thing. So
Yes.
I'm on the second page. I apologize, I'm in page number. So this slide really represents the story of the organization. It goes through how the opioid funding was created, and that was based on the lawsuits associated with the pharmaceutical companies. The ORC was created, which is the 7 counties. I started this project in June of 2022, and I actually came out to Catherine and conducted two stakeholder groups, one in Camado and one in Reserve. I also looked at national data and New Mexico data as to what direction to take, which then rolled up to your strategic plan, which you guys have in front of you. I've had the pleasure of meeting Deborah over the last month, and one of the things I would recommend is that we actually have a new stakeholder group, because when you get a new county manager, there might be new energy and new interest into this project. I also have been fortunate enough to have Lou come on and join our project as my resource leader. And I think she's going to be really, she's going to be able to help me get some more traction here in Catherine. So that would be something that I would be taking a look at. Our strategic plan you guys have in front of you, this is our first year. We started implementation fall of last year. So the next slide is, it identifies, we do have a website. So it is orcnm.com. I developed the website early on in the project simply because it's very challenging to communicate effectively with all 7 rural counties. On the website, we have the counties represented, resources. It talks about the project, and it also identifies the activities that we're participating. The next slide, these dollars are actually allocated into 2 different categories. One is prevention and one is treatment. And what I've been doing in some other counties is the data is very, very clear that when youth are using drugs or alcohol, that they are at risk of growing up and unfortunately continuing to use drugs or alcohol. So one of the recommendations for these dollars is that we really intervene with high school students. We've been able to stand up some digital boards in the high schools that also represent some prevention posters that I've been doing in the 7 counties. The next slide talks about Narcan training. So I do have a team of 2 addiction medicine physicians, 2 behavioral health therapists, including myself, and an RN. And we've been doing Narcan training across our 7 rural counties. We can do that with first responders. We can do that with schools and also businesses. So we are available to do that anytime y'all recommend that. The next slide identifies the Narcan box project that we are standing up in Cibola. So one of the things that we've done is we have purchased some recycled magazine boxes, and we are stocking them with Narcan. And I've been working with law enforcement and the fire marshal, and we've been identifying places in Cibola County where individuals can access Narcan for free. So we're supporting that project.
I've got to ask a question about that. You're stocking these with Narcan?
Yes,
An individual can open it up and take as many boxes as they need?
they
Wow.
can.
Are you finding that being controlled well, or are people taking advantage of it?
So we have created a manual for the project. We have MOUs with the businesses where the boxes are going to be stood up. Law enforcement is actually tracking the number of Narcan boxes that are going to be taken out. We haven't been able to, we're in the process of selecting one place, so we're going to actually be tracking that on a daily and a monthly
So
basis.
it's not on a street corner.
It could be. We're looking at, in Cibola County, the truck stops are a pretty significant issue. So we're looking at truck stops. We're looking at the county manager office. We're looking at the grocery store and the Allsup's.
All right, thank you.
So the next slide is the doTERRA pouches, and this is actually one of the interventions that we talked about when I was out here in Catherine doing our stakeholder groups. There are quite a bit of individuals that perhaps might be on a hospice status with a family member, and the doTERRA pouches are really helpful because they allow a person to actually dispose of the medications in the pouch. And it's good for the environment. You can put it in the trash can. And it allows for that person to get rid of medications and avoid any kind of issue with someone taking those medications if they're interested in doing so. The next slide is our Safety First project that we're doing with high school students. So it's a curriculum that really helps kids talk about not using drugs or alcohol, also getting help in the event that they are doing so. I have reached out to the juvenile justice system for all 7 counties, and we do have a representative from Katrin, where we're going to be doing a Zoom class for high school students, and it's an 8-week curriculum. The next slide represents our recovery team. And so, as I stated earlier, I do have 2 addiction medicine physicians. I have engaged with PMS in town. They actually recommended that we do some film trainings so that their providers can get some up-to-date trainings on addiction. And we're in the process of doing that. We're going to be uploading those on the website, and that's going to be available to the providers. The next slide is our navigation model, which is currently using the 988 number. When I look at the data for Katrin, for 2024, you have approximately 25 calls a year that call the 988 number. And the benefit of our navigation model being funneled through the 988 number is when people call 988, they will be asked, they will be given the resources that they request and or the treatment services that they want. And basically what the navigation model will do is link that person up to having someone to talk to as they move through that process. So we're actually going to be starting that on the 21st. I also have engaged with Chess Health, which is another company that's in New Mexico that exists that will help us with identifying all of the resources that we have in our 7 counties, and that'll be easily accessible to folks. The last slide is my hub and spoke exploration. Since I started this project, I've been trying to identify options for perhaps treatment that is more local. I am currently working with Hidalgo County, which would be the closest program to Katrin and Sierra. One in Sierra with a housing recovery program. So if someone was in need of continued services after they got out of a medical detox program, they could do that for about 6 to 8 months in a housing process. And then in Hidalgo, we are looking at a 28-day program that all of our regional rural areas would be able to access on a preferred status. And that's our project.
So, can we ask?
Absolutely.
Okay, so within the last few years, what do you see the trajectory of this crisis? Like, what's happening?
So the numbers are actually going down. The last data that was put out, there was approximately about 125,000 people that were dying a year. Last year's data was about 85,000. When you look at the reasons behind that, it is a little bit too soon because the prevention and treatment options have been implemented over a 2-year period of time. And what they've really rolled it up to is that, number one, law enforcement has got more efficient with seizing fentanyl and or opiates. That's one thing that's happened. The administration of Narcan and the distribution of that has been very helpful in saving people's lives. The youth intervention is also another reason that they're talking about, is that we're really starting to touch the high school kids and encouraging them not to use drugs or alcohol. So, and then the latter part of that too is that there've been a lot of people that have passed, and those numbers are going to go down because of that. So the data is kind of fresh, but that's where they're at. So the trajectory is actually going down.
Right, good. So now, no, and I think that's the biggest thing is education, because what would you consider is the highest cause or the easiest entrance into opiate addiction right now?
So, prior to this position as the executive director of the Opioid Remediation Collaborative, I was a hospital administrator at Turquoise Lodge for 10 years.
Right.
And we serviced 87% of the state for medical withdrawal services and a 28-day program. I would say that the biggest driver of opiate addiction is isolation. People that don't have support systems, individuals that really want to dissociate and not be a part of a community or a process, and having a predisposition to an addiction issue. So that combination, I think, is one of the biggest facilitators that we saw.
And so but how would they first be introduced to either the opiates or fentanyl? Like with you with your findings, how would those people first come in contact with them?
So when you look at the opioid epidemic, one of the pathways for people to use is basically that they were prescribed a medication that was said not to be addictive, and it was.
Right.
I think that that's one pathway. And I do see that in some of our rural counties with folks that do a lot of hard labor, were prescribed that medication by a doctor, and that medication not being overseen in the way that it needs to be. So opiates, for instance, those medications were never meant to be something that was long-term. When it comes to pain and other issues, there's a lot of other options for that now. There's tons of other options for that. So I think another piece of that is that there's medical providers, primary care providers, folks that can prescribe these medications, but the guidance around how you wean somebody off of that medication is very limited. And one of the benefits that I have as a part of my project is I have actually 2 addiction medicine physicians that have been doing this work for over 30 years that can actually help guide some of that.
So you're asking us to continue to support Valencia as the fiscal agent on the monies received from the ORC? Is that what you'd like us to do?
I would, the Valencia County has already been identified as the fiscal agent, and I believe would be continuing to do that. So not a request of mine, just that's the way the project is set up.
Okay, all right, and you're looking for us to continue to support it as we have in the past?
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay.
Right? Anything else? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am. All
I should
right.
apologize ahead of time because you all know how I am. And Joanne is not able to be here today, so I told her I would give her presentation. We have restructured the Ketchum County Health Council. So we have a new fiscal agent, CHI. We have totally redone it because we're trying to work with the collaborative with different entities to try to bring more services to Ketchum County. For the last year, we are providing medical alerts to anybody who needs one. That's part of our funding. So if anybody knows anybody who needs a medical alert, let us know. We will take care of it. We had a really great family health fair here in Reserve. We supported EMS students for testing, and we paid for their travel and lodging and their testing. We brought in and we paid for the Assured Imaging mammogram and DEXA scan van to come in and to provide mammograms and DEXA scans. We've done mental health first aid for adult support. We've supported students run closets in Reserve and Camado. So if a kid doesn't have food or they don't have clothing or whatever, they have closets at each school where they can provide those to the students. And we funded money for them to be able to do that. Substance abuse, which is one of our main goals. We have 6 individuals trained in Narcan. And we worked with DEA on medication take back program. We're doing suicide prevention. We had 4 people certified in QPR. If anybody's ever taken that training, it's actually pretty awesome. I took it and I loved it. We're working, we have DOH funding and we work with Department of Health quite a bit. Working to help alleviate the food insecurities and working on our other primary goals, which is suicide prevention and substance abuse. And we are offering RPAN and PPR training in our community because we do have trainers. We are going to have another health fair in Northern Catron County because sometimes they get left out. So that's going to be something that we're going to do up there. And I was talking to Representative Armstrong yesterday, and she's going to try to be there, and we're going to try to make it a thank you for her. Try to make it a big event up there and thank her for all that she does for Catron County and try to work together. But that's our goal, is really to work as a team, because I think that's how you get things done. And that's it. If you have questions, I will hopefully be able to answer. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Lou,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep, and thank you for all that you do for the county.
I've tried.
All right. Now we'll move on to our department and agency reports. Commissioner activities report. Okay. Do you want me to give you a report? I'll report a lot longer than you would, and probably give you a lot more credit than you would yourself. So Hayden and I will first report on Audrey's, because she has been working her butt off and on the Wolf deal, and I don't know, you never can tell exactly what the fruit of your labors might be until some time goes by, but she's helped spearhead us meeting with a bunch of different people and us getting on the agenda coming up on the 25th of April on the New Mexico Game and Fish meeting, which they were not wanting us to be able to be there, and we're going to be doing a presentation, and then also being able to discuss with those members of the board on the New Mexico Game Commission. So between the emails and time and things like Audrey has really sacrificed a lot from her family and from her business to try to do this, to try to make headway. So just want to compliment her and let you know of her activities. Do you want to go, or you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you said that was April 25th? This month?
April 25th is the meeting, right? With New Mexico Game and Fish.
Friday.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm going to say a few things about Audrey also. And I'm supporting Buster's comments. The amount of time that Audrey's putting into this is sacrificing her own personal financial growth in her businesses. And it's clearly not just about money for Audrey. It's about the passion in our ranchers being treated unfairly by the federal government, and the lack of concern or compassion that the federal government has for a program that they've dumped onto Catron County. Audrey has made friends with the right people where they will listen to her rather than making enemies with the wrong people, and they don't listen to her. So the advantages that Audrey's been given the county is substantial. And I need to tell you, we'll all talk about the DC trip. but Audrey was on the hot seat with the majority of the meetings that we had in DC. And while her calves were being killed real time, she was talking to delegation in DC about the losses that not just her, but other ranchers are taking. So I believe both Buster and Audrey at the end of the day had blisters on their feet from from the amount of walking that we did going to the delegations meeting. And I won't talk more about DC right now. I'll turn the DC trip over to Audrey.
Yeah, we just paused, share whatever.
The DC trip, I felt like a broken record because we'd go from meeting to meeting and Ellen would be like, well, take over, Audrey, and I'm like, same thing every time. But honestly, from the other trips that I took last year, I think we're moving in a good direction. The Arizona delegation especially was super helpful, and they've already introduced some new legislation on either defunding the program and decoupling Mexico with the US. So I feel like there's a lot of good happening. New Mexico Game and Fish has a lot of power here. And if we can convince them that they're going to start losing the elk and deer herds, and it's not only just about the ranchers, and a big concern is the human safety part of it. And I've been doing a lot of research too, and it looks like even more of a problem than losing livestock and everything we're dealing with. They carry a lot of diseases as well. And the diseases, I'm kind of blown away by it because it's saying like 60% of the wolves carry these diseases, and your dog would go lay in the scat and roll in it and come back in and you brush it. And if you touch your nose or whatever, it can be transferred to humans. And if a human gets it, it's basically death. And so I'm worried and concerned about, there's more of the big picture of why in the 1920s, we got rid of the wolves in the first place. And there's thousands upon thousands in the world. They're not going extinct. It just seems like there's a whole other tool for whatever it is to just ruin people. So anyway, that being said, I think that we have a lot of good going on. I have a meeting in Albuquerque tomorrow with Fish and Wildlife. I know there's a lot of talk of them getting at 70 to 80% where the collars won't be turned on. They're going to lose half their personnel. I don't know yet, but there's just a lot happening with stuff. And then on the wildlife services side, there's both the trappers took the buyout. So we have no trappers, and a state director in Arizona, he took the buyout. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Regional Director Amy Looters took the buyout, so she's gone. It's not a bad thing. Amy's a nice lady, but we need somebody to come in that's going to actually do some more management. And then on a side note, there's been Tom Patterson has been a lot of help to me, and we've got a big campaign that's going to hit, because with all that emergency declaration and stuff that we did.
Yeah, your time's up.
All right, I won't. So with the declaration that we signed, I mean, that was challenging. There's been death threats and crazy stuff. That's all right with that. And then we've got Western Watersheds and a lot of the wolf advocates writing in the newspapers of Albuquerque journals. So we're trying to, every time we see something, we write something back and send it. And so we kind of came up with this big, huge campaign, and it's a big deal. Like from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think I spent 4:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night taking the film crew everywhere countywide and filming different people from the school bus interactions to elderly people that just want to go walk to ranchers. And so they gathered a lot of stuff. I know that it's getting edited right now, and I'm thinking that campaign's going to go live Thursday or Friday of this week. So, social media is the way nowadays to get people educated. And like people are gonna open it, whether they're a wolf advocate, they're gonna be like, oh, what are they gonna do now? Or the people that don't want the wolves, but like that middle group that just doesn't know, that's what we're trying to target and try to educate people on really what wolves do. And so it's a work in progress, but I do feel like we're making headway. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh,
That was just wolves. I gotta talk about the rest. So we did get a meeting with the chief of the Forest Service. Oh, I don't wanna take all you guys' thunder.
No, it's okay.
Okay. We got a meeting with the chief of the Forest Service and it was really good. He's a super common sense guy. And he wants to, we brought it up that there was 83 open allotments in the Southwest that needed to be stocked, and the fire danger and how a lot of people can't even get insurance here in the county because of the fire danger. And if you look at the whole United States, and there's like the darkest red for the worst, Catherine County is the one that's like dark red and out of the whole state. And so we brought all that up, and he was acknowledged that he wants to start cutting timber, he wants to stock allotments. And so a lot of common sense. I was pretty happy with what the chief had to say. And anyway, I won't do any more. You guys can take over.
Hey, I just real quick, new fire admin, eventually over the next several months, as I get training and accreditations, I'll end up being the emergency manager. Our fire mitigation plan, as well as our EMP plan, is one of the things that I was told, accepting this position, that would be in the future a major thing going forward. So especially with the forest and the initiatives that they're taking to thin things out, please just remember me, and any information that you can send my way, any conversations that you include me in that you think might be helpful would be good, because that will not only be information that I will eventually need to know, but it will be a great way for me to familiarize myself with the initiatives in the county and how my office could be of assistance.
Definitely. Yeah, because we definitely, within that fire plan and stuff, we need to talk about the need
Yeah.
for management of the fuel load. And
That would, as I said, I'm still brand new. I'm still trying to get my kind of office set up and introduce myself to everyone. But I understand that these are deadlines that are coming up over the next year, so that we're going to have to implement. Otherwise, like, just for example, currently right now, I have the state fire fund, and I need to try to get a hold of all of my sorry, I'm not used to publicly all the fire chiefs and get them to fill out that application. So that's kind of where I'm just trying to get my feet wet. So the more collaboration I can get from the rest of the county and try to get my name out there, the better. Everyone and anyone, please reach out to me with basic contact information if I'm just trying to get to know people. But more specifically, I think in the next year coming out of my office, especially once I achieve the emergency manager position, having a new EMP and a wildlife or wilderness fire mitigation plan is going to be essential, especially if entities like the Forest Service themselves, who are either state or federal, they may not even know to coordinate well with us, because my position is new. We've always had someone doing administration for the fire departments, but my position is now just as an administrator and emergency manager, and I'm not a fire chief as Dusty was.
right.
So just remember my face, remember my name, no one forget that I'm here. But that would be something that I would like to be intrinsically involved in as I continue to evolve into my position.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be real brief. So already trumped up Bobby. Now I'll trump up Hayden. Listen,
The wild and scenic, he's
So-
the rock star.
yeah, sometimes the commission can be an interesting position. And we don't always make the best decisions, but we do try to make the best decisions that we can for our county. And I just want to let you know that Hayden has multiple things going on in his life, and he does so much research and had so much available data prepared to give to each person that we met back there. And so I just want you to know that Catron County's interests are at his heart, and let you know that of the awesome job that he's doing. So before he tells you what he's doing, but no, listen. So the main thing is we were able to meet a lot of different people back there, and I'm hoping that within time we might see some benefits from that. But in the end, I'm hoping that some way we can make headways either with the state or with the government. In the end, it's going to be up to Catron County to kind of manage the problems that Catron County has. And so we have to find out a way that we can do that legally and then just take care of things like we know how to do here in this county. Being back there, you see, so I can tell you, I like, that was my first time ever to Washington, D.C. And so like the history that's there and everything else is impressive, but you see everything that's wrong with government. And it's also sickening. It's nothing what our government was meant to be. And I really think that, so like the commission, I really think that that's how our senators and our representatives should act. People should have normal jobs and have to be working for a living and then go to serve their country and do it not as a full-time job. And I think that there would be more common sense within our government. But the whole basis is you think things are run on politics. Things are run on politics instead of common sense and what's best for the nation and best for our county. So I just want you to know that we're trying to make decisions based on common sense and based on hopefully what will be the best operation for the county. And so that's my deal. So I'll turn it over to Hayden.
Thanks, Buster. So, the thing is, Catron County and the majority of our battles are in DC. When you look at what we're facing with having so much public land here, they now call it federal land rather than public land. Our challenges are truly in DC. We work hard with all of our local folks, but if we're going to win some of these battles on behalf of Catron County, we need to take the fight to DC. And I can tell you that Catron County is becoming known with the right people. We've taken the time to work with and hire a representative in DC, and he got us into some meetings that were just astonishing to us, like meeting with the newly appointed chief of the Forest Service. That's not an easy meeting to get, right? He meets with dignitaries. Maybe we're dignitaries now. I'm hoping. So anyway, the time that we spend there is very useful. Unfortunately, the majority of our delegation doesn't care about Catron County. Not a lick. They are in their positions to represent everybody in New Mexico, but they do not represent Catron County, and they ignore us. But we continue to meet with them and work with them where we can. So I will tell you that I did a long interview with a group called Searchlight Publications regarding this is separate from DC, regarding our opposition to the Antiquities Act. And there's a number of counties in New Mexico that are opposing the Antiquities Act. That's where the president, through stroke of a pen, can generate national monuments. I made some very good points with them. Typical for a liberal publication, all the good points were ignored. They said the article was getting much too long to put in some of our points about how the Antiquity Act falls within Great American Outdoors Act, where they're buying up land in the 30/30 plan. So anyway, we are getting the word out where we can on opposing the Antiquities Act. I'm working with the Forest Service on a collaboration between them, New Mexico Aviation, and New Mexico Game and Fish on their hatchery. You'll be hearing more about that. I'll leave it at that. There's a lot going on, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from all the commissioners soon about our progress.
Yeah.
So one thing that really inspired me, and I am not somebody that reads, I'm not someone that listens to podcasts, like I don't have time for any of that, right? And this guy named Ted B. Lyon, so Carolyn, I don't know if you've heard this, but look up Ted B. Lyon, the real wolf. And this guy was a trial attorney from Texas, and he was like conserved, like he was more like this preserved redfish and stuff, knew nothing about the wolf. And he was hunting with some buddies in Montana, and they told him how bad it was and stuff, and he got mad, it caused a fight, and he's like, the wolves aren't bad. So he went back with a bunch of his students in his law firm, and they did like research for a long time about what the wolf actually does. And so I've ordered the book. I've only listened, it's like a 45-minute speech, and I need to get your cell phone, I can send it to you. But he had a lot of information that I didn't know. And I want to meet the guy. I want to go talk to him because he's a wealth of knowledge. But if all this is true, and I'm more worried about the diseases now. And he was saying, like, from the elk herd in Yellowstone, when it decreased from 18,000 to 2,500, a lot of them were sport killed, but a lot of it he's attributing to the diseases, making them slough their calves and abort and everything. And so I think there's a lot more to this than just the livestock killing and stuff we're facing if it's a big disease thing that we're not going to get rid of. Anyway, so if anybody wants to listen to a good deal, look up that Ted B. Lyons and the real wolf.
You spell the last name.
Lyons, Ted Lyons. And if you want, when we're on break, I can text it to you and you can just listen it to your cell phone. If I get your number, I'll share it with anybody that's interested. But like I said, I don't have time for anything like that. I've listened to it twice now because it's so good. Like, I want that guy to come here and speak because he has a wealth of knowledge, and somebody that came through it, not being a rancher or like hating wolves. He did all the studies, and he's like goes on to say the federal government didn't tell us this or that, and they didn't. So.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on. The Forest Service report. I don't know if you have anything. Yeah. So I spoke with Randall last night, and they weren't going to be able to make the meeting today. They'll be at the meeting next month, but he's hoping that the things that we discussed with the Forest Service and everything will hopefully make some headway, and that we'll be able to increase the
Timber sales.
the timber sales and the response in which they're able to do that with. So
Just so everybody knows, our adjoining forests, the Abar Apache sitgraves, they have the same amount of land mass as the Gila does. They cut 10 times the amount of timber out of Apache sitgraves than we do here in the Gila. And we've got data showing that it is a philosophy on the deal. The reason why timber sales are being managed the way they are. And we're trying to identify that in DC so the philosophy can be changed to correctly reducing the fuel loads in the forest.
Yes, sir.
I'm with the BLM. Could I give the report?
Yes, sir.
Morning, Mr. Commissioner Courtney. Matt Atencio, I'm with the BLM field office in Socorro, field office manager. I'd like to come here and just introduce myself. I was just appointed as the field manager back in November. Previous to that, I was the assistant field manager for renewable resources. I've known Buster for a while since I worked up in Albuquerque as a range con. Been in Socorro since 2016, so about roughly 9 years, doing AFM work and then now field manager. But just wanted to come and introduce myself and made it to the Wolf meeting last week, 2 weeks ago. Yep. 8-year research was eye-opening. That was amazing. Difference between Yellowstone, Ketchum County, it's got it all right there. So we're a really small office there in Socorro. We're about 15 people managing 1.5 million acres. So we have a old school mindset. A lot of the people that work there are ranchers, and Paul graduated from Mexico State in the range department. And myself, I'm from a ranch in northern Mexico, working ranch. We bring our cattle up in Pecos Wilderness. In the summertime, 6th generation ranch up there. So I told my parents, you do not want wolves around here. I've seen them, just timber wolves, just running through the area. And the devastation that one wolf does is amazing. I don't think they'd last very long up there. But anyway, I just wanted to come and bring some information to you all. I know I emailed Deborah a few times about the FLAP program. It's a good opportunity for the county to get funds. There's 2 in each of our. The Federal Lands Access Program, which is money for road maintenance for access into public lands. Notice I said public lands, not federal lands. Bursum Road comes to mind. Nichols Road, we're having some issues with. I know, and the 29th, our hydrologist and the engineer's going to meet with Mr. Atwood to go look at Bursum Road. 29th, so let's see what we can do there. I mean, certainly that funding would help, because I know there's a lot of material that needs to be hauled into that road or reroute if need be. Yeah, that'll help with the roads. I recently met with Mr. Jerry Delaney about the well over there in Camalo at the shipping pens. It was transferred over deeded to the county back 60s maybe, a long time ago. And that well is indeed, we did our research, and it is indeed undeeded to the county, and BLM has no water rights to it, no records in the Office of the State Engineer, so it's good to go for you all to go apply with the state engineer for water rights and possibly use that well if it's functioning for the community center. It's 475 feet deep, we found, and we offered to Jerry if we could stake it with a camera and see if there's any obstruction down there, if there's water. He said he's going to try to get it pumped out pretty soon, test it. So that's a good thing. We're excited to see they broke ground on the community center there in Camalo. We got a couple of fuelwood areas there. One just about 8 miles west of Pie Town, we call San Ignacio. And then we're going to be opening up another fuelwood areas down Bill Knight Gap Road by the wind farm. We did a heavy Byron aerial treatment. There's a lot of dead trees. So that wood's really good and available for people to cut for Fuelwood. So we're gonna be opening that up this fall.
So what, will they need to go into the office to apply for a permit or what?
Yeah, we were thinking about working something out with the Forest Service and possibly selling our permits there at the Forest Service office in Camado to make it easier for folks. Restrictions, fire restrictions, we're not in any right now. We kind of have an interesting IA situation because Ketchikan County, all the way to the state line, is all part of the Gila zone. And the majority of the rest of Socorro County is all in the Albuquerque zone. So usually we kind of stick by what the Gila has as far as restrictions, but we don't have as much timber and fuels as the Gila. So we're usually one step behind them as far as the levels of fire restrictions. So like if the Gila goes into 2, we'll probably go into level 1 fire restriction. It is pretty dry and there is a lot of grass. Anita Hand asked me the last time if it was true that people could lose their permit if they killed a wolf from, keep the BLM taking their permit. And so I told her the last time I heard that was when I worked in Flagstaff. Permittee out there that raised sheep was actually lacing sheep carcasses to kill eagles. And the Fish and Wildlife did a really intensive investigation on him for several years. And that's the only case that I've ever seen that Fish and Wildlife Service mandated that the Forest Service suspend his permit. Pretty sure he received it back. As of now, he had to do community service and whatever fines, but he still has his permit, to my knowledge. But I had at the meeting, I brought my wolf liaison with us. His name is Zeb Andrews. And back when he first started, about 6 years ago, I had him kind of be the liaison with the Fish and Wildlife Service to get early responses and, early communications to him to pass on to the ranchers as denning, if they're denning in their allotment or if the wolf pack has moved into their allotment. That over the last 3 years has really just declined. The communications have been minimum. You all probably receive just as much communications as we do. All they really send us is the wolf map, which you all know is junk. Interesting though, the wolf map shows that there's wolves up in the Manzanos now, close to the Sandias. We had one walk right through Socorro one time, a collared wolf. So Socorro's having a lot of issues with wolves too, a lot of the ranchers over there. But this did say kind of what the information that was heard earlier was the head of any federal agency which has issued lease, license, permit, or other agreement authorizing a person to import or export fish, wildlife, or plants to operate a quarantine station for imported wildlife or authorizing the use of federal lands, including grazing of domestic livestock, to any person who is convicted of a criminal violation of this act or any regulation, permit, or certificate issued hereunder may immediately modify, suspend, or revoke each lease, license, permit, or other agreement. So it is there, but like I said, I've never seen it, and I know we've had permittees with the BLM take wolves, and it never came back. So the example I gave was malicious, really intentional take of eagles. So you see the difference there. If it's a wolf you're protecting the livestock from a wolf, that's a bit different from planning and, trapping or poisoning. I'll pass that off to you all. That's about all I have. BLM, I'd like to come more often. It is a ways here, but if you all want me to send reports, or I'd like to try to come as much as possible to these meetings.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because, we need to have more collaboration with BLM.
Yep.
And no, and thank you for coming to the meeting.
Yeah. I know, I didn't say anything, but it really couldn't say much. Our agency has a really different mission than the Fish and Wildlife Service. Completely different. We are held under the Endangered Species Act. As far as that, and the Ketchikan County, Socorro County, our bread and butter is ranching.
Yeah.
And we will support that for as long as I'm there. It's kind of scary to see some of these offices. They're changing to more recreational driven, and a lot of the multiple use is going away. So it's more going towards one single use. It is kind of refreshing to see the new administration. Secretary Burgum is against wind farms and solar. It's completely unreliable. So hopefully we don't see any of those popping up anymore. The one in south of Red Hill there was, I didn't like it, but we were stuck and we had to do it. It's one of those things.
Yep.
Do you ever
No.
see them, do you ever see in the future when they see how worthless they are of taking them down?
I hope so.
They're hideous.
Yep. I don't know if you've ever been up to one, but it's scary.
No,
Yeah, you can just hear
and from like the power, they don't even generate as much as solar does. They're a huge expense and ugly. For a lot of birds, talk about killing birds.
a lot of birds,
It's the
And
something,
bats.
you look at the common sense, like, of, they want to conserve the bird over here, but they want to put windmills up and kill them over there, like it's,
Yeah.
the common sense is not common.
And so the wind farms actually get what's called a take permit. They buy that from the Fish and Wildlife Service for $50,000 to actually be permitted to kill eagles, just eagles.
I'll take someone's permit for poisoning them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have any other questions, I'll be here for the whole time. Sorry I was late. I got confused. I thought I was up at the community center, then I ran to the courthouse and it was not there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, and yeah, like to visit sometime, Matt, because, like with the designation, now I'm, of the new, it's not a wilderness area. What do they call it?
Wilderness study areas?
No, but down there like at Las Cruces.
Oh,
But
the monument.
yes, the new monument and what they're doing with those monuments. But I don't think people understand the acreage that they're including as an impact on that. Because, so I have a place leased down by Deming and got notification. And I was like, what? And it's part of that. Like miles and
So it's not even within the boundary?
no, but they're including mass amounts of acreage within this study, so that I don't know if it's for future, but I'd like to get with you to try to research that and everything. But it's just it's government overreach, and eventually
Yeah.
to try to transition people off of public lands.
So is that part of the Floridas?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, Cruces has too many monuments.
Yeah. So, but no, but we appreciate you being here, but
And I'm hopeful best thing that can happen with the wolves is they get delisted. That way they can be managed.
right.
And with the new administration, I think it's a possibility. Our state director will be at the wolf. What is it called? Summit.
Yeah.
She'll be there. So
Good.
I briefed her on the meeting, sent her the minutes, and
Good, I hope so, because we need to get something done now. Well, hopefully the political climate is where we can make some traction, even if our state government is set against it. All right, thank you, Matt. Okay. We will, Mrs. Mueller? Manager report?
Yes, yes. So you met Brad, he kind of, introduced himself there. So his purpose is to, at this stage, he is 100% to support the fire chief. So everything from budgets, all that good, ordering, keeping track of all that stuff. So that is what he's currently doing until we get him the classes for the, emergency manager. On that note, need to be aware that Grant County has announced a rabies outbreak, which also includes the forest and federal land. And what they have determined is a wild animal drank from the water supply within a domesticated animal's water supply and transferred it to a horse. Okay, so there's also some concern that's not too far from, the border and to both Katrin and Arizona. So it's spreading up here. So let me know if you'd like me to send a press release because if we need to vaccinate, kind of remind people to vaccinate for rabies. This was a horse. This was not, a dog or a skunk or anything like that. So but going back, so that's just an update on things that have happened recently. We did meet with Stantec out at Formangus Lane, the improvements there. So that project is continuing to move forward. The final determination of project funding will occur at the Colonias meeting in Las Cruces on April 30th. Now, Stantec will be doing a presentation for Colonias for them. So there's two things on the.
Do we need to have a presence there, either you or I?
We'll probably need to talk offline. Mark suggested that you may be the person that's most knowledgeable about it. He would suggest you.
Where is it?
At Las Cruces on the 30th. So,
Okay.
So we also, at the same time I was there that day, staff, which is Joyce and Becky and I met with the Glenwood Park Board and going through their grants for those projects down there. Now we did hear, and I'll let Joyce kind of expand on this, we did hear that the rodeo grounds, because the park board oversees them, are also something that can be included in the improvements for the grant. So that was good there. Kelly and I are working on the web host to update the county website, which was in desperate need, to kind of get that into the 21st century. Let's see, we met with Pomato's water board to discuss the possibility of looping their system into the new, because as he mentioned, the well on BLM, we need to apply for ownership of that. It's still, we need to test what both water quality and quantity I feel is pretty good, but we don't know on quality yet. So we're doing a panel test on that to make sure everything's, it's strengthening. But the possibility there, talking to Priscilla, there are some water grants specifically, which we could upsize that tank to exceed both the potability water standards and the fire requirements, and possibly go larger with grant funding and eventually loop in the water system, and basically get like a 50,000 gallon water tank. And the water company is very, very interested. So there would be no cost to them. But if we can achieve a grant funding to make that a loop system, it would dramatically improve Pomato's water supply. So we're looking at that possibility there. Mark and I met, we had a violation going back to 2021 with EPA for kind of, they were working within Army Corps stream bed that for flood prevention.
White water.
Yes, and so we met with them and we have a path forward there. So the county is not, we're just more of an educational thing, because Mark's also felt that we needed to notify our property owners that if they do work, once it crosses a certain threshold, that the EPA, we do need to apply for a permit through Army Corps. So that's just more of an education. We completed several interviews for the treasurer, and I believe Rick is here, so he can talk on that. We've received numerous complaints throughout the county on kind of nuisance trash accumulation, dead animals in subdivisions, right? This is not, we're not talking about large acreage parcels. We're talking, kind of 1 acre, 2 acres, 10 acres, accumulation of dead, goats and things like that, household trash. So I spent, I want to say probably 3 or 4 days last week just dealing with those multiple locations. So that's something we may be bringing you guys an ordinance to look at some sort of nuisance abatement for, properties that live in a subdivision if you're a certain footage away from your neighbors. Let's see. We did have the New Mexico cattle growers here. They were using the fair building. They had, so I was there for a couple hours on April 10th. So that would
turnout.
It was well attended. I feel now I can't gauge it to anything, right? That was my first event, but I feel there was probably, what would you say, Kelly, about 75 people? So I felt that it was, people came to reserve, from far and wide. And the last thing is the COG and Better City, we had a workshop here last week, right? And I feel that it was really, really good. And so Lou and I have some ideas, but I think it was time well spent. And we had the county staff, PMS was there, Reserve Village had staff, and there was a few water districts, Quamato Lake and Quamato, I believe, had representatives there. But basically, we're kind of uniting us to get, solving some issues that we can work together on. So Lou and I kind of, had some discussions on and it dealt with Quamato and possibly with grant funding going after a grant. So some of those hotels that are in downtown Quamato, maybe improving those, making them into units that PMS can use to house their providers, making them, kind of working on them and updating them to be more studio apartments kind of thing. Because right now, Lou was saying they have a desperate need for housing and they just can't find it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it would be beneficial to Quamato to improve the downtown area there. Definitely benefit. I think there's some things we're working on there. So needless to say, it's been a busy.
Good. All right, thank you. Any questions? We'll move on to our department reports. We received reports from Tracy and from the sheriff's office and within the packets. Those of you that are here, is there yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry it wasn't in the packet because I was waiting for information on Friday. It didn't come till yesterday, but it was excellent. First off, the Glenwood Park has received another $200,000 in addition to the $350,000 that they have, so for a total of $550,000. The new $200,000 will not be available till around August 2025, which is just in a few months. We have to wait for the agreement to come in. But as far as that, Deb was saying that we did receive approval for use for the rodeo arena. It is to be Glenwood Park improvements. Everything needs to be Glenwood Park improvements.
Is this additional 200,000 ICIP?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, let me make sure I took it.
You can't just call it Hayden Park. I mean, it kind of has a name to it.
Yeah.
No, you've done a lot for it. That's awesome.
We have to be very careful with our wording. It is Glenwood Park. We received an additional grant, for $150,000 for county vehicles. But this 200,000 and the 150,000 all came from legislative funds from, Senator Bradley's office. So we need to kind of send her a thank you for that as far as the.
Okay, who did you say?
Bradley.
Crystal?
Crystal. Okay, the ambulance grant that we had that was going to expire June 30th of this year, we did get a reauthorization until June 30th of 2027. On that, we should have the 2 new ambulances arriving at the end of May, and we'll need the extension, but if something happens, we're covered with that. We received an extension for the Camado Community Center as well that was this was the very first grant that would expire on June 2025. We've got an extension for June 2027, so that's saving us $190,000. We won't lose that, so we can move forward on the building with that. Had a Teams meeting with Gregory Montoya Mora, our County Community Planning and Development representative from HUD, for the direction to start the application process for the Luna Community Center HUD grant. Explained to him I had just started and had several grants expiring now in June and still learning. He wants me to take care of those first, and then from this time till the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year, we will work on the application, because yes, they have the grant, but they still have to meet certain requirements within the application, submit it, and then it will be official. So we have to follow the process. We have to go through the steps. So I'll need to meet with the Luna Community Center Board, maybe next month, and we can get started. We have to present a budget to them. That's part of the application process. I've been going through older grants that expired in June of 2024 that through DFA, they're expired, but they haven't been closed. So I'll be doing the paperwork to close those. Airport grants are being taken care of through KSA with Trevor Self, who's the project manager, and we have started receiving reimbursements. As of yesterday, we've received approximately $189,000, a little bit more, so we're still getting some more there. And I will start on the reimbursements for the New Mexico Grow IPRA. This is the government-to-government grant that we received through Representative Armstrong to do the move and get everything situated for any IPRA requests and stuff like that. So that's where we're at today.
I have a question. How's the SRF funding?
The SRS funding, they received it this month, but nothing's been posted yet, so we don't know how much we're getting. It's posted on the website that payments were sent April 2025, but nothing's posted. That's the only thing that's posted. I think it said that we were cut 5.7%, but until they actually post the amount, we don't know. But they did post that, but they haven't posted the actual amounts yet. So I'm thinking this week.
That,
Yeah, I
well,
mean,
that's definitely better than.
that's better than not getting anything else. Yeah.
Federally, we heard that they want to overall cut 1%. Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
it stated in there 5.7, but I don't know for sure. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I've been checking every day. It hasn't posted yet, but it says that payments have been sent, but I don't think anything's in the bank yet either. Yeah, it should go direct. I don't know. I don't remember if those come check or ACH, but either way.
I believe it comes ACH.
ACH. Okay, so
Yes,
it's,
so
as soon as we hear, we'll let everyone know. So,
Quick question on that additional 200,000 for the Glenwood Park.
Mhm.
Was it Gail Armstrong that pushed that through?
I don't know on that. Let me see if it says anything. Because I hadn't heard, so I just got on the website and looked to see, and I don't know who pushed that through.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, I'll find out. Thank you. And I know this sounds like a lot of money, but the overall bids for all of the improvements at the park was $1.5 million.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So we're
yeah.
2/3 of the, or 1/3 of the way there.
Right,
But
right,
this is wonderful.
It's a start. It's a start.
Another quick question. I don't know if it's for Deb or for you. Our number one request for ICIP this year in legislation was a rock crusher dozer. You know what happened with that?
No, I haven't heard anything. She hasn't mentioned it at all.
Okay.
Hasn't mentioned that at all.
Okay.
So we'll have to look.
Do we follow with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else?
Thank you.
You bet.
Good work.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Any other departments?
On the finance side, everything's going okay. I'm still working on all the budget stuff. I do want to say if the roads get cut 20%, we're gonna have to look at that because that will impact covering grants. So that is something that we'll need to keep an eye on.
Well, I think they just said 5%.
I'm hoping that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so far, so good. I think we got the LATCF report in, so didn't lose that money.
Thank you.
Which needs to be,
Well,
during our workshop or whatever, you guys can maybe work on how you want to budget that.
yeah.
We do have the ARPA report coming up by the 30th that needs to be done. Joyce and I are working on that. We had a seminar thing on it yesterday, showing us how to do it and all. We're pretty confident we can do it, but till it's done, but we're gonna try to do that way before the 30th so that we run into any kind of problems. And that, finance as usual.
All right. Yes, sir. Treasurers?
We're still here.
Good.
I've had 100% turnover in the staff. I've got one slot left to bring the body in, and I'm in negotiations for that. We should fill that slot by next week. Our problem right now is computers. I mean, this is my fourth week, and I just got access to Tyler last Thursday. We had a manager's meeting last week and we discussed it, but that where the problem's at. It's getting them to put the software into the machines where we need it. And we're still fighting that battle. I got one left to go and I'll be good on that.
I think we're approving Abbott's contract today, aren't we, for another year?
Amendment, yeah.
I don't know.
You're having problems with it.
Yeah, and that was discussed last week in the manager's meeting that, from what I gathered, everybody's having problems with them. It was discussed going back to Cash, or I guess was Kosh, their predecessors. Deborah's dealing with that. And yeah, the guy's easy enough to talk to when you talk to him. But getting to him is the issue.
Yeah.
The next 2 days I'll be in Deming in Triadics office, going through how the program works, and so I can bring it back to my people. I have Tyler coming here next week for training with all of my staff all at the same time. So we're making progress. Not real fast progress, but we're making progress.
Will you update us on who you got, what you got going on, personnel and stuff like?
Well, the two people that are there in the office right now, Denise Howard, she lives in Glenwood. She's at the desk right in front of the door. When you walk in the door, you meet her, and you're in a grouchy mood when you get there. Chances are it might not be so bad when you leave. The other person I got in there right now, Paul Trujillo, he lives in Cruzville. He's got a bachelor's in accounting and a master's on top of it. And when I talk about something, you keep telling him this is what's been going on and this is what we got to go to. All he does is shake his head and says you can't do that. So we're working on fixing things. I have one that should be coming in next week. She lives in Santa Rosa, but they bought a house in Luna 6 years ago and wanted to move, but had to have a job before they could. She's got 30 years experience. So we're making some good progress.
Good.
You were faced with some challenges, and I appreciate you driving through them like you are.
Mr. Chairman, really quick,
Yes.
as far as capital outlay goes, what we got, the county got was $400,000 for input improvements and $200,000 for vehicles, so I'm not sure if that's crusher or what it's supposed to be.
Well, the crushers,
Couldn't, that'd be more than
no,
that.
that'd be like 2
Buy
million.
a
Yeah,
couple
it was-
tires for the crusher.
Yeah, 2 million for the crusher and dozer.
And I'll give you a good deal on a drilling rig if you guys want to work.
Yeah.
Do you ever get water?
We still have rig stuff there.
Did you say 400,000 for Glenwood?
400,000 for them,
Okay, I want to check that with Priscilla, because she told me that we had requested another 400,000,
Uh-huh.
but that we only got 200. But I was asking her if the 400,000, of that 400,000, 200,000 came directly from Senator Bradley's legislative funds, and we still get the other 200, and she never answered my question. So I know we have 200,000 for sure. I don't know on the other.
This is straight capital outlay. This isn't junior money, junior building. This is 400,000.
Okay.
So it sounds like the 200, and another 200 now will be funneled through. And I appreciate you working closely with the Glenwood Park committee. They want to handle things right, but they don't know how to handle them right. So,
We're gonna together.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Work together, but we've got people that I've talked to, and I play the old grandma that doesn't know anything, so help me out, young man, and so far it's worked really well. That's worked well.
Good. All right. Anything clerk's office
We're just still there,
going good?
partly there. Everybody's got allergies, so it's.
Oh.
But yeah, we're good. We've been in classes and trying to just keep things going, doing all the commission minutes. Takes a lot of time.
Oh. Quit having 4 meetings a month, so. All right. We will now, so right before action, we need a bathroom break, and we're good to go into action, we get it done. So good. Okay, move on. Item F, consideration of resolution 57-2025, budget adjustment in the budget for fiscal year 2024, 2025. Is there any discussion?
This is the standard. What's happening right now is I'm trying to going through and get everybody out of the negative into the positive again before I can do the interim budget, because I just need to see where we're at. And it just all needs to be balanced out before it goes into DFA. We'll get deemed. It's not.
Okay,
So there'll even be more of this coming, so
right.
this is just the beginning.
For any further discussion? I'll hear a motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
It's been motion seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item A, approval of purchase, Catherine County Seniors Center 2025 Nissan Kicks. All-wheel drive. So, is that,
Yeah,
did you pick those out?
Yes, I did it through state
Kicks.
contract.
Okay.
The reason we do that is we do a lot of transportation.
Right.
We're doing a lot of transportation out of town, like, we do a lot of district out, and they would be more economical going those longer distance on the highway. So we are providing a lot of transportation. I can tell you, I probably do that myself at least 10 days out of the month almost to communicate what's going on. So it's something that we can, and we have $52,000 for a vehicle for Glenwood that to get, when they first put in for the money, it was to get a hot shot truck, but we don't have enough home delivered meals in Glenwood. Glenwood is the kind of community where they like to actually go into the senior center. They have huge pockets. So we didn't need that, so I was talking to Priscilla and Joyce, and we talked about that we could use that money to get 2 vehicles that we could use for either doing homemaking or something around here, but also for going those long distances.
So is that 51,000 apiece for 102,000?
No, we were able to get, because we could have got one vehicle, but we talked about getting two of them. And then we have more leverage because I have vehicles here every day and I have enough employees and we're doing enough services that every day all those vehicles are out somewhere.
So all that's a standard question. Is it grant money?
It's capital outlay.
And I got one other question. How many vehicles does the senior center have currently?
We have three, well, we have two in Glenwood because I brought one up here because we needed extra. And then we have 5 over here and we have 3 in the farm. And one of the vehicles I'm going is an older, I'm trying to remember, Fiesta. And I would like to give that, once I get those other 2 vehicles, I'd like to replace that vehicle and give it to solid waste to the county and use that.
Did I hear you say you have 5 vehicles in reserve?
And every single day they're on in different directions. Either doing homemaking, we do homemaking respite. We have 3 routes doing home delivered meals for reserve area. We are doing we actually won an award, and I didn't say that earlier, Catherine County within the senior network because of all the work that we're doing, and we have 2 clean audits, which is not typical.
So all 5 are on the road?
Every single day.
Okay. Okay.
We're looking at the kit.
Oh, they're cute, right?
Yeah, they are.
I actually talked to the fleet manager for it to ask, if that's something that would work, and he was able to get 2 of those for that amount of money exactly.
For all-wheel drive, like, that's a pretty good deal.
Right?
Yeah.
I was thinking I should have got that for my daughter instead of a truck.
I know, they're really neat. I researched it before I did it. Right? And I work a lot of meetings, so that'll be one of my vehicles actually.
Okay.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Seeing as there is none, is there a motion?
A motion.
I will second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, approval of purchase Catherine County Roads District Number 2 culverts and dams. This was in the packet. I don't know if there's any need for further discussion. Seems as there is none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve the purchase.
I'll second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor? Aye. Item C, approval of purchase Gattle Fire Department Life Pack, 15 defibs and accessories. Is there any discussion? There's nobody here from.
No, Larry had, he had a conflict, he asked, me to, talk on this. Basically, this is to complement, their reserve ambulance. So they have one fully complemented ambulance, and they need this equipment to complement this.
Okay, and I don't know why, but in my packet, for whatever reason, mine won't open.
Yeah, it's
on the
going through a striker, $40,000.
Okay.
With a
They have it.
In there. All right. Well, if there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
A motion.
I'll second.
The motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, approval of purchase Glenwood ambulance, power, load, and cot.
This one was supposed to be.
So we put this on the agenda because we weren't terribly sure, but Charles actually swooped in and saved the day. Apparently, it had been purchased a while back, and Dusty stored it somewhere and found it, so we don't have to buy it.
It's actually in the storage shed to the left of the door here.
They were not made aware that purchase had shown up, and so this can be removed.
Okay, so
just no action?
No action taken?
They did.
Okay, so D died because of no action taken. Item E, consideration resolution 55-2025 Colonias Grant Agreement with NMFA for improvements on Peterhead Road. Open the floor for discussion.
Adrian, did you receive the packet? Deb let me go to it here. Is this related to CFI 6410?
Yes, all of those are the same. Several attachments.
Everything was 64.
4, 6, 8, 9 attachments. I looked through this quickly. It's somehow tied into the Village of Reserve.
And Adrian's.
So, yeah, so I was just wondering what we're actually,
What's our action?
what are we?
It went to your, Yelp.
Here, so we don't have revenue.
This is a Colonial Infrastructure Project Fund loan grant associated with the Village of Reserve.
Right. Right of way certificate. Would it be best,
For the Beaverhead Road.
There's a lot of language in this.
yeah,
I'd sure like your eyes on it, Adrian.
I sent this to Adrian when I first got it, I believe last month, maybe prior to that. He and I did correspond. I mean, he looked over.
I would just suggest, I would delegate the authority to the manager to approve it. I think it's fine, but I'll have to double check.
Well, I guess my question would be, since it's a loan/grant tied into the Village of Reserve, what are the risks to the county?
like what part is the county playing in this? Are we the physical agent for the village?
I don't know why we tied to the Village of Reserve.
Well, that's.
As far as I know, it's just Catherine County.
Yeah, it's two stands at for Beaverhead Road.
Yeah, it's, I don't think it has anything to do with Village of Reserve.
Well, I sure did read it this morning. Let me see if I can find the, because I was trying to understand what the county's responsibilities would be.
Yeah, I'm at the same place as you.
And it clearly said that this is infrastructure for the Village of Reserve.
Well, that sure wouldn't be right, though. There's no Beaverhead Road in the reserve district.
No?
No. So one of them you have, that just says Catherine County and the Colonial Infrastructure Project Fund loan grant for 1.9 million. And then, but then you go back and there's basically
if you give us time to review this, we will find it.
Let's just put it, let's just address it after then.
Oh, okay. Move it to after executive? Is that what you want to do, Buster?
Yes, definitely.
We can get it by the.
Yeah, because we need to understand why.
Okay.
Well, now I'm looking and
It's there.
I know, their document was just there.
Yeah.
It showed the Village of Reserve.
We'll find it.
All right. So how would we do that? How do we?
Just, I'll motion to, move it after executive session.
On the plan, or we moved it once. On my first. Resolution. After executive session.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and second that we move item E till after executive session. All in favor? Aye. Just making sure that. Okay, consideration, item G, consideration of JPA between the Catherine County Sheriff's Department and the Village of Reserve through June 30th, 2026 for the village law enforcement responsibility. This is a yearly deal. Is there any discussion with this?
I I can tell you, since the sheriff isn't here, last year I asked him if the 95,000 was appropriate for the work that he does for reserve. He said, yes, it is. Adrian, in reading through this, I see that the 99,000 is through a grant.
Yes.
And
that's their law enforcement protection fund grant, which they'll get, every entity that has some law enforcement protection in the village, receives a certain amount, and that's what they get. So they just hand that over to us, and the sheriff provides law enforcement protection. Basically, the law says that village is supposed to have their own marshal or police officer, and they don't meet that obligation. So it's up to the county if you want to decide whether or not to meet it for them.
Right.
I did see in here that if that grant isn't received, that the amount will be renegotiated.
Yeah, and I think that's really not likely.
Yeah, it hasn't been a concern.
And
Yeah. They lost another officer, so they're down like 4. And they're just challenging. Listen, sorry that you're sued.
All right.
So we just need to.
Oh, weird.
All right, seeing as there's no further discussion, is there a motion? I'll motion that we pass the consideration of JPA.
I'll second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of amended contract with ABBA Technologies for management.
Mr. Chairman, I just say with this contract, it does not change the fundamental terms of the contract, which are that we actually, it can be terminated at any time with 30 days notice. All that it's doing is changing basically contact information as with adding some services. So they're giving us more services and they're actually reducing the price slightly. So by $300 a month or so. So it doesn't really affect whether the fact they're doing a good job or not. We can still address that otherwise, but this doesn't change. This does not extend the contract. Let's just
Okay. Now it's not the time for change, right?
To look into available options. And
We only had that discussion on Friday of this week, so the agenda was already out. Staff, I will say staff at both locations, so just so you're aware, I think you guys were in DC, ABBA was down, which means the sheriff's department didn't have any mapping or anything like that, so officer safety was a major concern for about 9 hours. We had some major issues. It turned out we had some sort of firewall or something, and the problem that we felt was the issue was they kind of dragged their feet getting that replacement part to us. They didn't even leave Albuquerque until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Kelly was here 9 to 9 o'clock, 9:30 that night with their staff. And it was reported to them at like 8 o'clock. So they didn't leave Albuquerque with the replacement, or even our staff ended up diagnosing it for them, said, hey, it's within your equipment. So just that downtime of that 6 hours was a major issue. Staff has reported ongoing concerns with just, their availability and their responsiveness. We did have, when Mr. Proper joined the team, Kelly put in an immediate request to get him his credentials, to get, email addresses and access to the network. And hopefully, within a couple hours, he should have had that. It took them 3 or 4 days.
Yes, and usually, I mark it high or urgent, they got with Rick pretty quick, didn't they?
For myself, yes, I had email that day. I've got others that just to get email and log in is taking 2 to 3 days. Then other programs, it's even longer to get it done.
So in researching this, is there, I don't know who motto and reserve schools are using for their technology needs. I think the motto is in the transition and home reserves usually. But I don't know. I need to find somebody that will service rural areas a little bit better.
Well,
And
and maybe Sherry can speak of what the previous company that was there. My understanding is there wasn't really anything wrong with them, and we switched due to a billing issue with previous staff management.
Well, that's not quite.
Okay.
I don't know why they switched. They switched and didn't tell us.
We had, one employee that was heavily involved in IT, and that employee didn't like Kosh and their service, so that's what drove the change to Abbott. And,
They did good. They were even on our phones. So if we had a phone problem, we can talk to them about it. ABBA, you can't. They don't deal with their phones.
I've never had a problem with Kosh, but frankly, I've never had a problem with Abbott either.
So to speak of the phone issue, the manager's office, you guys were once again in DC. This happened in your absence, but I was out without a phone for 4 days. I had 107. So it's just, I mean, that's just, when my phone came on Friday morning, it was just.
Who was, the service contractor for that?
Oh, that's ABBA also.
Shoot.
It was an Abbott issue, phones down for 4 days?
So it happens a lot where, and you know, when the phone hasn't rang in a while, so you look over and you see there's an exclamation mark on the top corner, which means they've told us unplug your phone for 10 solid minutes and then plug it back in to reset it. And we might do that 5 or 6 times a day.
So, as long as it this contract amendment allows us to continue to, shop around and it doesn't lengthen our service.
Well, we've got to have somebody in place until we make a change, if we make a change. Okay.
okay. Seems as there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
A motion.
It's been motion seconded, all in favor? Aye. Approval of contract with the payroll company. And Z for payroll services. Aye. Is there any discussion? Yeah,
I'm opening it.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, the payroll contract is again, our payroll services. Basically, it's the same terms and conditions as our standard contract and can be terminated when we need to. But if we continue to use the payroll services, then we should go ahead and adopt it.
And it can be canceled within a certain amount of time.
It takes, let me just check. Cancellation period is,
I can't remember, but the one they had on file was like
60 days. This agreement may be terminated by either of the parties hereon should written notice delivered to the other party at least 60 days prior.
Okay. So canceled or amended. Okay. I'll second.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we will, items 10, 11, approval of checks and registers and approval of payroll. Is there any discussion? Seems as there is none. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we approve items 10 and 11. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion to roll call vote, recess regular session, go into executive session. Pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 8-13-1, only the following matters will be discussed in closed session.
Is there a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's been motioned seconded.
Is District 1,
Buster Green, aye.
District 2,
Audrey, please.
District 3.
Hayden Forward, aye.
County Executive Session. We thank you all for being here at the meeting.
I miss it.
He's looking back there.
I know. I know. We had that big meeting, we had big audience.
I need to catch that.
Audrey was a call for remark.
He said, okay, he said, we have some slash pits to sell you also.
By the way, did you guys look at the picture he sent us of all the trash?
Yeah,
Slash bit?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So I think Scott's pulling that stuff out of there so that they can burn it.
Not anytime soon. We have red flag starting tomorrow.
Yeah. And I don't know, I gotta talk to Scott's apparently got a truck down too.
Yeah, big time.
But anyway, so we're ready.
Okay,
are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
Okay, motion and roll call vote. The matters discussed in closed session were limited to those specified. Oh, so I guess we need a motion and vote reconvene regular session.
A motion.
I'll second it.
It's been motion second. All in favor? Aye.
And now motion,
Yes.
motion and roll call vote, that one. Read that part.
Yes, motion roll call vote. The matter discussed in closed session were limited to those specified in motion for closure and that no final action was taken as per New Mexico statute section 10-15-1.
Roll call.
Buster Green.
District 1,
No action
no
taken.
action. District 2,
Audrey McLean, no.
District 3.
Taken forward, District 3, no action taken.
Okay.
All right, now that we're back in session, we will, it was item
F. E.
It's E.
Mr. Chairman, I think we discovered a inconsistency in the application, so we table this until we can get further clarification from Mexico Finance.
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
It's been motion and second that we table this consideration. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that is it. Next commission meeting, May 14th, 2025, 9 a.m. Here.
So I had a request that I had emailed you guys separately.
1209.
We have requested May 7th as having a budget workshop, which, and then not, foregoing the May 14th and having a May 21st, which is the following Wednesday, to approve the budget.
Does that fit with you?
I think we should have the workshop on Cinco de Mayo so we can all wear sombreros.
That would be the Monday, right?
And that would be the Monday.
The Monday?
Yeah. Don't make notes of this.
No. We all have to wear sombreros.
Oh, wait.
There's a dress code?
Wait.
There's
Before
a
we talk. I motion that, or do we motion or meeting adjourned?
Are we changing the meeting or?
Oh, okay, we gotta have the meeting date. Okay, darn it.
Well,
Okay.
isn't it the 14th?
So we have, I had
Yes.
emailed you guys requesting May 7th as a budget workshop day and foregoing the meeting on the 14th. And if there's any changes to the budget from the 7th, that allows Becky an extra, basically 10 days, 2 weeks to go. And so she will provide that to you on the 21st. So instead of the meeting on the 14th, we would have a special meeting on the 7th and move the
Because Becky will need time to.
if there's any changes that you would like to see within that budget, that would give her time to go for it.
My calendar's open right now. I don't care.
Okay. All right, so Sherry, the next commission meeting will be May 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the Fire Administration Building.
Okay.
So,
Sorry, Sherry.
I know, it's my granddaughter's graduation day
on the 21st.
on the 21st.
How far do you have to go?
To Tucson?
Oh, well.
It's a long
Why
one.
don't we get like the 20, or what are you leaving?
I would have to go that day,
Or the 21st.
21st.
So should we just try to do the
One. She says she can do it.
I can be here still.
She can be here.
I can't go because my kids that will probably have finals that week.
Okay.
So I won't be able to make it to Chelsea.
So that'd be good.
Yeah.
We're just,
Suspend.
yep,
21st is good. And you're
Are
not.
you okay with that? Adrian?
I can't be here on the 21st.
Yeah.
Can you be here the 20th? Okay.
Are we wondering? Are we go?
Yeah,
And what, is it, 9?
that would be 9. Well, and there's probably, like, if this Colonius thing gets worked, you know, we're able to work on that, there's gonna be a couple other things I would bring to you. On that, on the 7th.
Okay, so we've got the 7th that starts at 9 o'clock, right? Okay. Are we changing the commission? I put till 4.
so. What? Do we anticipate the 7th? Do we anticipate it being all day long?
I wouldn't think so.
It has been.
Is it, okay.
I put down kids for open but you don't have to stay for the whole thing. Okay.
I would hope the meeting on the 21st is just to capture the requested changes, or the 20th. So are we going with the 20th?
Yeah, 20th.
What do you?
So because Adrian,
And then that works better for Sherry anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so next meeting will be May 20th, 9 AM. Okay.
Budget workshop on the 7th.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be budget workshop. And it will be 9 AM to when?
I put until 4, but I'm hoping it'll be done by 1 or 2.
Split 9:30 and be safe.
Okay.
You could drive slow.
We can take the more aspects, put that first.
Okay. And
Is Kelly gonna come back down?
no,
Can I give you what we normally give Kelly?
yes. I didn't even text her out of break. I forgot to call you. I'm a horrible person. We're done. Okay, bye.
Where's that? Well, would you give Kelly the expense report and the travel?
What? Where's yours? Miss Uber lady.
No, I gotta get my credit card statement. I've got,
You know, reimbursed, you gotta get reimbursed.
hours that Uber pushing, these guys don't even have the Uber app.
I don't either, so.
So you're going to receive a package from UPS. It's about this big, about the size of a boot box.
What size are they? Will they fit my big old feet?
What, did you mail them?
I had to. I had a soft bag, and when I looked at that bottle of lotion, it was. So I
You should have just thrown it away.
So I.
How much was your spray? I need to pay for that.
I didn't even look. So I put the lotion inside the boots to protect it, and then shipped.
Now your boots are gonna be more flexible.
And let's hope your boots don't come back loaded with lotion.
They come back and
So
they're
are we
just all
adjourning?
shriveled up and dry.
Yeah, okay. So meeting adjourned? You need a motion?
No, I think we already did all that.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
12:17.
We're good.
But I would have never made it with it.